What's going on, everybody? I'm Alan. Welcome to Breaking and Entering. We are here talking today with Jesus Villa, who is a singer-songwriter from Milwaukee and just put out some projects as well. So thank you so much for taking some time to sit down with me today.
Absolutely, Alan. Thanks for reaching out.
When we mentioned those projects, you just put out a single as well. Let's talk about your beginnings, though, kind of how you found music in the first place. What was the kind of genesis for you picking up a guitar in the first place?
Sure. I got my first guitar at age 10, and the genesis was at the time our school music room was under construction, and we had a music teacher that would come around to the classrooms instead of us going to the music room, and he came with a guitar and would lead the kids singing songs like on the radio, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. You know, he was portable, and these were songs I knew, and so that kind of led to me telling my parents, "Hey, I'd love to learn to do that." They were supportive. I still have that guitar, and that's usually the guitar I pull out to write songs with.
Oh, nice.
But it just kind of started a lifelong journey, you know. It's
Yeah.
taken me a lot of places. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still have the first guitar that I had. That
Right.
stays in, you know what I mean? That's got to stay in the house kind of thing for sure. Um,
Exactly.
that's super cool. At what point do you start writing and recording your own stuff? Is that, I'm assuming not super early on, but eventually down the line?
So by high school, I actually got into a recording studio a couple times in high school with a band, and we were doing original music. And at the time, I didn't really think much about how unique that was. Um, but up to then, you know, it was like a lot of other people where you learn by playing along with other people's songs and listening to a lot of it, and you start writing lyrics to other people's songs, and then eventually you kind of figure out what you're doing. And I've done my share of cover bands, and I've done my share of playing liturgical music too, but always kept coming around to the idea of creating my own stuff. And I'd say it was within the last 10 years that I really wanted to make that a focus.
Hmm.
And as for home recording, that was kind of my COVID thing. I had
Okay.
sort of dabbled in it, but 2020 we're all locked inside. We're not gigging or anything, uh, and so I said, you know, I really this is something I want to get better at. I want to learn more about, and it's like anything else. The more you do it, the better at it you get, and the more gear you buy. And I still love going into studios with people who know what they're doing better than I do, but there is something really cool about figuring it out yourself.
So I think that is the that real mark of when an artist takes that step forward, right? Is you were writing lyrics to other people's songs, and then all of a sudden you're making your own thing, creating your own thing from then forward. Um, for what point for you, when you're recording and doing all these things, do you think like you really had the confidence built that you were like, I'm going to go out and play these for the world, or is there nerves whenever you release anything?
Oh, there still are, and in a way, that's kind of what makes it invigorating. I like you have to. It's like a lot of other things. You got to get over yourself a little bit when you first start out doing something. Um, you got to be real with yourself and recognize like it's going to suck a little bit, right? Like you're not, you're still learning, and especially when you start writing as someone young, like you don't have the maturity to write about a lot of the stuff that you're hearing on the radio, but you put it out there, and as long as you're willing to listen to yourself and learn and always try to get better, I think that's really good. But even still, like I've been doing this a long time, and there's nothing more nerve wracking than performing one of your own songs, especially if it's something more personal to you, and performing it for people for the first time. Um, you know, and I'm not a shy guy, and I will perform all the time, but that's walking on a tightrope.
Yeah.
Um, but there's no way to get over it other than to just do it and realize what how rewarding that is.
For sure. And there's a vulnerability of putting out, something that you've written out into the world too. But let's talk about A Little Bit Blue, the project that you put out in October. We got 8 songs on this one, and a lot of different influences that come into it. What
Yeah.
was kind of the timeline for making the record, and really who were you listening to, or who influenced this sort of thing?
Sure. So the timeline, it depends on kind of how you count it, because in a way, the songs had been written over a period of time, and I would kind of start recording the foundational pieces, the guitar and stuff, kind of here and there. But I didn't really have a deadline for a project. And I've learned that that's something that I can use. Like I work better with a deadline in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I was gigging a lot. I was performing these songs uh, and just recording when I had time. What actually got me to finalize it was a professional recording session. So I have a band called the Unrulies,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been together a number of years. And last year we went into the studio, into House Street Recordings, worked with a really great engineer and using some really nice equipment, and uh, produced a really solid studio album. And although it was much better than what I can currently do on my own, it was really inspiring to be like, hey, I want to go back and work on this some more, and finish some of this stuff that was half started, and work on mixing myself. And um, I toyed with the idea: do I send it to a mixing engineer? Do I send it to a mastering engineer? But I deliberately decided it was a personal project. It's very
Mm-hmm.
different than what I do with the band, and I wanted to learn it as to use it as a learning experience. And a lot of those songs on there, they've been around for 3, 4 years or so, but it was the first chance to get it all down and release it as a single piece. And yeah, I'm real proud of it. I'm proud of how it came out.
Yeah, you should be, definitely. It's your thing. That's interesting too. Being in a band and being a solo act, does
Hmm.
that change? Does the songwriting approach change for the Unrulies versus you solo, where you can be maybe a little more personable, or maybe a little bit more, I guess, to use that word again, vulnerable when you're
Yeah,
making music for yourself?
for sure. I think playing with a band, and it's a great band, like a lot of talented musicians and friends that I'm performing with. But when you're with a band, you have to kind of write with them in mind, and uh, play to different styles and things like that. And that's a good thing, because they bring out things in the songs that you might not have. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
add to it. It's and take it in different creative ways. But it is a nice balance to do that, and then realize, okay, I've got this other thing in me that I want to bring out, but it doesn't necessarily fit that. One of the songs on A Little Bit Blue, the first song, that's been released before. That was released with another band, and with my good friend Paula, who I sing with even still in the new project. She sang lead on that. But I wrote this song, and I had an idea of what I wanted, and I performed it at my solo shows. And I kind of got to the point where, like, I want my version on Spotify and all of that. I want to hear
Yeah,
what it sounds like, and uh, and bring out some different things. So
love it.
playing with a
That's
band
cool.
is great. It teaches you, and it influences you, and you bring out other things. But I I do like having the balance of doing both.
For sure. Now let's talk really quickly about, we're on the cusp of a new year. There's a
Yeah.
lot happening. What is the focus for you for 2026? Is it, I want to play more solo? Is it, I want to play with the band more? Are you writing again? Like what? I mean, not to put any pressure on you, you just put out a project. But
No, I'm
what's kind of the thought for next year?
yeah. So no, I'm all about this, and in uh, my other job, my professional job, I'm a big strategic planner and believe in that. So definitely do that with my band. The solo stuff has become a little bit more of a revenue stream, funnily enough, because it's easier to get one person singer-songwriter shows and whatnot, and get paid a flat rate.
Mm-hmm.
The band is not as consistent a revenue stream, but definitely looking to play more places around Wisconsin and maybe even get out of the state. We've been booking a few different shows, some in familiar venues and some in brand new venues. And we are planning on going back into the studio in the fall of 2026. So right now we're picking out some songs. We're kind of aiming for at least 10 that we're going to polish even while we're learning a few new songs so that we can get back into the studio and record them. The deal I make with myself is that I don't spend money on music that I haven't made through music.
Okay.
So you got to keep the gigs up and the revenue up in order to pay the bills for projects like the recording, but it works out really well.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk with me, and I appreciate it. I really like what you've got going, not only with the band but the solo stuff. You're staying busy, which is great. If
Yeah.
people want to go ahead and follow you and find you, where's the best place to go do that at?
So my website is jesusvillasongs.com, JESUSVILLA songs.com. From there, you can link to the Unrulies or any of my different stuff. I also have a Jesus Villa Songs Bandcamp page where you can download all the music.
Very cool. And don't forget, you can check out even more music from the Milwaukee music scene, including Jesus Villa, over at breakingandentering.net. You can find us there every day, and you can find us on all your social media as well. Thanks, Jesus.
Right on, Alan. Thank you. And thanks for supporting local music.